Homage to the Buddha, the Pure One. Homage to the Dharma, the pure teachings. Homage to the Sangha, the pure community. Hello there. I am Gendro Jidkana. I'm going to talk about how I came in contact with the Dhammapada tradition, its founder, head teacher, Mr. Koio Samadhi, that goes by Sifu, and his student, Vasu Bandhu, who uses the honorific Bhikkhu. So one day I was on some site and on my feed popped up a monk that many of you might know, the Ajahn 3-day, kind of known as the TikTok monk or what have you. And I looked at that and I was like, is that a Mahayana monk standing next to him? Oh, that's good. I'm always happy to see when we have Mahayana monks and Theravada monks coming together and working together. And he's introduced as a Zen monk in and his Bhikkhu Vasu Bandhu, and I thought, oh, Zen monk, Bhikkhu Vasu Bandhu, oh, that's so probably from the Chan tradition, based on his robes and the Bhikkhu. But I was thrown off by the Vasu Bandhu because you tend to get names from the country your tradition's from. So, like Chan is a Chinese tradition, so you'd get a Mandarin name or something like that. Whereas in like Japanese traditions, like Gendo Jinkan is mine, is Japanese, and if I was Korean, I'd get a Korean name, etc., etc. Sometimes here in America we get English names as well, but what we don't do is we don't tend to. Vasu Bandhu was a patriarch, and we tend to not use the names of patriarchs for new monastic names. So it's kind of like a little bit of a red flag there when I heard that. But I didn't want to make any assumptions or anything like that, so just let it go. But I hear that he works doing like a lot of religious dialogue and stuff like that with the Arizona Faith Network and the Parliament of World Religion. So I said, I'll look into this. I'll learn about him, what they're doing, and also want to learn about. So I want to know what a Zen monk was doing in, doing through religious dialogue. I also want to learn about his tradition. I'm always up for learning about a new teacher that I might not know of or anything like that. So I looked up the Arizona Faith Network, and there's a staff bio on the side there, and I looked at that and it's like, oh, okay, like Bhikkhu Vasu Bandhu. He is a Zen monk in the Dhammapada tradition. And I was like, Dhammapada tradition? That's not right. So Dhammapada normally wouldn't be used because it's a Pali term, and Mahayana does not tend to use Pali as its language. Sanskrit is normally the language of Mahayana. I'm not saying that doesn't come up. It's just it's not a big thing. And also Dhammapada itself is more of a Theravada thing. It's still a respected book, but it's not. If you were to say Dhammapada Heart Sutra, it's probably Heart Sutra this. But so there's another thing. But I go through and I read this list of accolades, and I'm like, oh, that's impressive. Worked for the Parliament of World Religion, did this, did that. And then I see that he's married. I'm like, that can't be right, because you can't be a Bhikkhu and you can't be married. To be a Bhikkhu, you have to follow Vinaya. And when you follow Vinaya, it does not allow for married monastics. That is why Japanese monks don't call themselves bhikkhus, because they can get married, and they do not follow the Vinaya. So I said, okay, well, maybe either maybe the person who wrote his bio did it wrong, or there's some issue there, or maybe even they made a mistake in writing the bio, and Ajahn Trideo was reading the wrong thing, and there's a mistake. So I'm like, let's look into his tradition to find out what's going on. And I look into the tradition, and it's troubling. It is very troubling. There are things that you're able to see if you're a Zen practitioner, that you can see that are just completely off. One of the things that I immediately notice, because my first thing that I gravitate to is, what is the lineage that this person comes from? Because that immediately will legitimize this person for me. So I went and I searched for the lineage, and there is no lineage. So if we go to his page, it has like the Sangha, weekly practices, the courses that he gives, how much the withdrawals is their refund policy, heart to heart, and the rules of the temple. But no lineage whatsoever. He gives a story about the head teacher, Mr. Koio Samadhi, gives a story about how he started, training in Zen martial arts, and then he went on pilgrimage and trained at a bunch of Buddhist temples, finding that they were culturally too dissimilar to him, and so he came back here to create an Argentinian Buddhism. But it doesn't say what temples that he trained at, what tradition that he trained at, how long that he trained, none of that. So I wrote to him and then continued to look on. I wrote to him saying, where did you train? What tradition are you from? I read I read that while at a secular Buddhist meeting, he made his intentions known that he was going to create a Buddhist group. I thought that's interesting. Okay. And then I looked into the bhikkhus, the Buddhist monastic, and the rules that he follows. And it says Vinaya, and I think, all right, yeah, he follows Vinaya. Okay, that's great. That's what Buddhist bhikkhus need to do. Is they need to follow the Vinaya. You're not a bhikkhu unless you follow the Vinaya. And then I read his Vinaya, and I'm like, that's not the Vinaya. What is that? It's just something you've made up. The Vinaya is a long document that has, in the Mahayana case, which would be the Vinaya that they follow, 250 rules, 250 precepts. I should say, not rules, but precepts. And his has 10, 11 or something like that. And most of them are things that he made up. They're not even specifically Buddhist things. There's a couple in there that are like the Bodhisattva vows, which should not be mistaken for the Bodhisattva precepts, which the Bodhisattva vows are not in. So I look through and I'm getting more concerned, especially because as I look through, I'm not only seeing what he's doing, but I'm seeing the price tags next to the things that he's doing, like his contribution to his required contribution to having a conversation with a Zen master. He charges people to, have a talk with him, to have dialogue, and he charges them 6,000 Argentinian dollars. Well, it says 6,000 to, and then it's empty. So I don't know. It could be 6,000 to, even more expensive. I'm sorry, I did the wrong thing. His contribution right here, 6,000. That's ridiculous right there. We also have a thing called Dokusan or Sanzen. It's where a Buddhist teacher will, after someone's, a sat meditation or whatever, the teacher will talk with them, review their progress, give them, encouragement, help them on their way, or advice, however they can help. He calls it Aishin Denshin. And he also charges us for Aishin Denshin, which is Japanese for heart to heart, basically. And cost again is about, looks like he says it for 40 US. And for almost everything, he has a cost to it. By the way, there's a weird contribution thing on the other one, and I find it funny because that wasn't there before. But since I've brought up the foulness of this, I think they're trying to cover for themselves. But I do have I've taken screenshots of the stuff too, so that if something happens, I can always, show the actual what it used to be like. So he's got an introductory course to Buddhism, and let's see here. I'm trying to get through some stuff just so that we can. And he's charging, it looks like it's close to about $40 US again for this. He's charging for. And everything he has is charged. And I immediately knew that he's, and nowhere in here do you see that he's not. I can't find anything that where it says, because I later found out that he's self-ordained. Doesn't say that he's self-ordained. I look through here and I'm trying to find his, what lineage. He has no Zen lineage whatsoever. I ended up, he said that he trained in Soto Zen. Someone said that he trained in Chan. And when I contacted Bhikkhu Mr. Vasu Bandhu, he told me that he trained in Soto Zen. So I went and started contacting all the Soto Zen temples in Argentina, which there are many. I thought there would be none, considering he said that there wasn't any Argentinian Buddhism. And I found plenty. There are lots. None of them heard of him. Contacted Soto Zen International. Didn't hear of him. Because I heard the Chan thing, I contacted Foguan Zen, which is a Chan temple within Argentina, and never heard of him. There's no link to him in any actual Zen practice whatsoever that I can find. And he doesn't make it known whatsoever. What I do notice is lots of things that are just wrong. They don't make any sense. And I also noticed that He's a bhikkhu who doesn't shave his head or beard, calls himself a Zen master without being a part of any Zen tradition, and if you look, he's wearing the most sacred garment within Zazen, which is the kesa, something that a non-ordained person should not wear. This is troubling. This is very troubling. He is doing this in an act to defraud people. And if he wasn't doing this in Argentina, I don't think he'd get away with it. The only reason he's getting away from it is because he's in a Catholic country with limited access to Buddhist resources, and who don't have as much knowledge about Buddhism as maybe other countries do. So if you want to look into them, please do. I'll put up their website. But that's how I got to know about this group. It was through Ajahn Tridao, and then looking into Bhikkhu Vasu Bandhu through the Arizona Faith Network. Like that. Please let others know. If you are as bothered by this as I am, please let the Arizona Faith Network know. Let the Parliament of World Religions know. Write to this guy. Tell him he shouldn't be doing this stuff, and write to Vasu Bandhu too. You can access him, and please let people know this isn't right, because this isn't right. So, with that said, in case I said anything wrong, all harmful acts, words, and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance born in me, body, mouth, and mind. Now I atone for them all. Hope you all have a lovely day or evening. Me.